Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's episode was recorded on March the 15th, 2022. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me, as always, looking to do a Flintstones.
Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we'll of course be discussing some games that we've played. Russia has reportedly legalized piracy in the face of economic sanctions. Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp delayed due to, quote, world events. Microsoft is testing ads in the Windows 11 File Explorer. In our community corner, we have Artesian Builds CEO offers, quote, apology, shuts down. And we'll have a Steam Discovery queue. Timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. Hello, Rage.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Feeling a lot better than I did last week.
That is good to hear.
Let's just put it this way. Monday it started feeling like something was coming on. Tuesday, sneezing, coughing, just feeling the.
Yeah.
From Wednesday through to today, just massive migraines, sinus pressure, and a lot of very colorful nasal discharge.
Yeah, grody. But I understand. Been there many times in my life. And will be there many more times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Human bodies are disgusting.
Yeah, especially yours. Oof.
Amen. That's what I've been told. So anyways, now that everyone feels sorry for me because the sad music played. Oh hey, played. What games have you played, Rage? Looky there.
So we slipped right into that one. So I played over the past couple weeks. I will admit I did not play that much this past 4 or 5 days just because didn't really have the concentration for it.
Right.
I've been playing something else on and off, but it's just today's really the first day that I feel like I'm completely clear-headed.
Yeah.
I've been playing some Far Changing Tides, and it's interesting. So, have you ever played the first game, Far Lone Sails?
No, I will say I'm familiar with it. You've talked about it before.
Yeah,
I believe.
This back on my old YouTube channel, I did a review of it. It's one of the few that I did a full-on review because it's a short game.
Yeah.
The idea of it is, think of it as like a road trip game. Well, even though it's not really a road trip, it's more. Well, it's partly on this buggy thing and partly on a sailboat. But it handles like a platformer where instead of pressing a certain button or something to at a control panel to manage your ship, you're running around hitting switches and physically manipulating the ship to raise the sails, lower the sails, raise and lower the mast, turn on and off the boiler, that sort of thing, and adjust the throttle, and if need be, get a hose out to cool down the boiler core so that it doesn't overheat and stop the ship.
Right.
And it can get it's this weird mix match of chillax, watch the scenery go by as you're on this adventure, but also frantic moments of really panic as you're trying to get through this section without causing a lot of damage to your ship, so you have to stop and repair or use a lot of fuel, because some sections will be where you'll have a choice of using the furnace to propel yourself along, or use wind power and save some fuel and just kind of enjoy the scenery.
Right.
But there's a couple differences on this one. One is that the scale of the game is a lot bigger, which I'll touch back on in a little bit. But also that there are sections where the ship is now a submarine. So you're also managing the ballast, which is also using the same controls that controls the temperature of the boiler. So there's times that you're having to frantically go back and forth to cool the boiler, then connect the hose back up to the ballast tanks to change those. And it could get very, very hectic and honestly sometimes a little frustrating because a lot of this is all contextual menus, or not even menus, but buttons. If you look at the screenshots on the store page, you see all the teal items. That's either things that you have to pay attention to or things that you can interact on. So, like on the top of the ship, there's the button that you hold and press in to uh, lift up the mast. Then you climb the mast, grab the thing at the top of it, jump down to raise the sail. And then there's another thing that controls the angle of the sail that if you hold it at the right angle, you get essentially a burst of speed. And like I said, there's a lot going on.
Right.
Which kind of flies in the face of this whole chillax adventure. I mean, the original game had its moments of hecticness, but it felt like it was all towards the end of this adventure. Coming up on that last bit, where it's certain set pieces are more frantic than others, which is a bit annoying in that the set pieces are so huge. And this is, I hinted at you before saying that I'm not as far along in this game as I wanted to be. And part of that is due to the save system.
Right.
So the game has a checkpoint-based save system, where after each set piece, the game auto-saves, and it doesn't auto-save again until you get to the next set. Or in some cases, past the next set piece. And there's times that it's a good 30 plus minutes for the next save point. And that's not counting, doing some exploration because, sometimes you just want to stop and try to find things to burn. Because, you're trying to build up on your fuel. Or looking like there's more places to explore than there really is. Because the game has this background that sometimes it's a little hard to tell if it's an obstacle, if it's something that you could explore, or if it's just something that you're passing by. A good example is actually the second screenshot that kind of shows the entire ship. A section just past that, there's pillars in the background, and one of the pillars is close enough that if your sail is fully extended, you're going to hit it, and you have to repair your sails if you hit it hard enough. And it can be very irritating to try to judge what is an obstacle, what isn't.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I do have my beefs with the game. I still plan on going through and playing some more of it, and probably finishing at some point. But it feels like they expanded the original game to the point, but they didn't expand, didn't put in a proper save system, so it makes it a little bit more annoying than it should be. And there's just so much more on top of everything else, so, you're going through the different set pieces can be a little bit frantic. And also, the game does not like my controller. It does not like the DualShock 4 controller, and I could not get it to work if my DualShock controller was even turned on. It would just sit there and detect no controller. Which was irritating, so playing with keyboard just keyboard, everything is on the left hand, WASD, and with the interact being E.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a bit cramped, a bit cumbersome. And I know I could rebind those, but at the same time, I don't know why it doesn't like my DualShock 4 controller whenever I've never had an issue with it like that. I've had ones where it would detect the emulated controller, but having it where it won't pick up something that's on direct input at all, or even pick up the X input controller. I did not try it with the Steam controller because I'm playing it through Game Pass, so didn't really see the point on that one.
Right.
But yeah, that is also another semi mark against it. And there's been other people that's with similar setups to mine that's also had this issue. So yeah.
So not an uncommon problem.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's an uncommon problem, although I have an uncommon control scheme. So it's a common problem for an uncommon control scheme. How about that?
Fair enough.
But it does have sort of the atmospheric storytelling that I hate even bringing it up, but the one everybody talks about, the atmospheric storytelling, Dark Souls, huh? Right?
Right.
It has sections where it's very story heavy, talking about this apocalypse that elders uh, seem to foretold, and everybody evacuated the cities. This is all just a series of murals on the wall that you're going past. So yeah, very guesswork on my part. There's some sort of apocalypse that happened, and everybody evacuated, and you're left behind for whatever reason. So yeah, the other major update mechanic is that you're able to swim and dive around in the water. Most of the time, it's kind of inconsequential until you're at a set piece where you're forced to go down to the water and check stuff out. And pretty much it's if you can't go up, you have to dive down through the water and look for something to pull on. You're always looking for these these teal icons, or these teal interactable objects. So it has a very fluid progression on things,
Yeah.
where it doesn't feel like there's this I'm trying to think of a good way to put it. It never feels like I'm completely stonewalled. If I hit a dead end in one direction, it usually means I need to try something different, or uh, something that looks like it's I shouldn't be using that yet. Actually, should. Like, a good example is towards the end of what I've played so far. There's a door that's under the water that I was going to check out after I figured out my way forward, but it turns out that sliding that hatch open connects to a cargo container that I need to use a crane on my ship to lift up to get the resources needed to move the ship forward a bit more. It's a little bit hard to explain without just going, "Oh, I did this, this, and this," right?
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil all the set pieces. And there's not a ton of really. There's. It's kind of this set piece interlude setup where if you remove the downtime in between, going between the major story beats, you'd probably be taking out half the game. But that's kind of the point of it, the journey along the way, right?
Yeah.
I would say worth checking out at the very least. I think it was Ghost Shark that was talking about looking at it as well.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds interesting. It sounds like something I'd probably like.
I think it's more up your alley than mine. It's just that save system. There was several times that I wanted to play it, but I wasn't sure if I would have enough time to get to the next save point.
Yeah.
So instead, I would fire up SnowRunner and do a mission on there, or start something on there, because I know that at any point I could stop and save.
Right. Which, there's something to be said for that. There are games that sometimes I won't play or won't start playing even if I want to, because it's like, I'm going to be locked in until I finish a thing, or if I play it for 45 minutes and then turns out that I fail or lose or something, then I'm going to feel like I wasted my time. So I get that. But yeah, is that,
Yeah, and it just feels like there's no reason that there should be that, gating, right?
yeah. Okay.
So,
Well,
on to yours.
yeah. So, I've been playing a game called Craftopia. It's on Game Pass. I've been playing it for maybe 10 hours or so. Given the nature of the game, it might be one that I talk about again as it progresses, but I want to talk about it sort of now with where I'm at in it. And then can kind of compare like earlier thoughts to later thoughts. Craftopia is a interesting mishmash of game mechanics or inspired game mechanics to form a survival crafting game. So the game has got a very cartoon, sort of pleasant appeal. It's made by Japanese game devs or people who live in Japan, something like that. Initially launched into early access in 2020. It's got a very very cute sort of anime inspired art style. Lots of bright light colors, bright music, sort of happy sound effects and things. But it plays like someone smushed together um, Breath of the Wild with Valheim, and then like threw in a bunch of like sci-fi stuff into it as well. So the menus, the inventory menu and the items, like the item descriptions and what it is that they do, and the icons for like health and hunger and whatnot, all feel super inspired by Breath of the Wild. The uh It's got like a glider type system where like Breath of the Wild does. You can't use your shield for snowboarding, but you can get like snowboards to, you know, slide around down hills and stuff. So those mechanics feel inspired. It's got a very similar, not quite the same, but a similar sort of climbing mechanic where that you will grip onto walls and you've got a stamina meter and you can climb up and you can jump to climb faster. I don't know how changing weather conditions affects that yet. I've seen changing weather conditions in the game, but not all of the biomes that are present, which I'll get to that stuff in a minute. But, in those ways, it feels very inspired by Breath of the Wild. But then in other ways, it is a survival crafting game, and it does feel inspired by Valheim in the way that it sort of handles that. Like, food is like, if you don't eat food, your character will die eventually, but you don't have to constantly be eating food to keep some weird arbitrary meter from dropping. You have a meter for like your hunger level, but it has to get dangerously low before you start taking negative effects. And basically food acts as like a bonus system where that you eat to keep your character full, and if they hit a certain hunger level, they regenerate health automatically. Foods, especially better prepared foods through the cooking system in the game, give you additional bonuses like more attack power or extra stamina or speed or whatever, stuff like that. It's got this sort of very broad strokes storytelling perspective, which it gives you at the very least this stuff at the beginning of the game. Like, this is a post-apocalyptic scenario. Something happened to the Earth. It's not clear if there was a war or an accident or what, but human civilization has been destroyed. And surprise, the old gods are real. Like, the Greek gods and the Egyptian gods, at least those two are mentioned. Like, they're real, and
Well, they're cooler anyway.
right, very true. But they're real, and they want to give humanity a second chance. And you have been chosen as the player, like have been chosen as sort of their envoy to rebuild the world and human civilization and rediscover technology. But this time, they're going to intervene a little bit more than they did. And so you have access to magical powers and abilities that you can unlock as you play. And so there's this sort of like very broad leveling system where that you can increase some of your stats and unlock new abilities, but for the most part, it just sort of increases the level of technology that you get access to in your tech tree. And in doing so, you expand out from the starting area to other areas as you level up. It does do a instanced type system, like this is being, promoted as a cooperative multiplayer game, although so far I haven't had any issues playing it by myself. But each of the little island maps are instanced, and as you grow in level, you discover and unlock the new island maps. And again, you get new technology. So you start with very sort of Stone Age era technology. You've got like rags for clothes and wood and stone and bone tools. And as you move up the in-game tech tree, you get to sort of bronze era, iron era, and then like I'm in like Renaissance era technology. So I have access to basic like flintlock pistols and rifles if I so choose to use them, but also melee weapons are pretty prominent. You have magic. And it seems like following these RPG elements, you can craft characters that stick to one combat style or the other. I've kind of been going for a general perspective or a general build so that I can experiment with all the different stuff. But there are several different sort of several different trees that you can, skill trees you can put points into as you level up. Such as you get, melee combos or damage boosts with ranged weapons, and you can fire while you're jumping and instead of having to be standing, and new magical abilities and increases to your mana and magic damage. And then there's kind of a general tree that's like, this just gives you more health, this gives you more stamina, this gives you more bonuses from cooking. And then there's a one skill tree that's directed towards the crafting system. So, your buildings have more health, or you recover more resources whenever you dismantle something. Your animals that you can, farm, or the food that you grow and farm will have more bonuses to it, or more health, or more whatever, but things directed towards the crafting system. And then the crafting system itself is a little bit all over the place. And it could be that it's like one of those things that you have to get farther in the tech tree before some of the stuff in the crafting system makes more sense. There are plenty of survival crafting games that do a bad job with the tech tree progression. So I'm not sure how much of this is bad job with tech tree progression versus early access, like the game is still in active development, one of those whole deals, and they don't have the full tech tree implemented yet, or what. But some of the stuff makes really good sense. Your basic crafting table, a few specific crafting stations to make like weapons, or to make more things geared towards your house. Like you can do a bunch of decorations, chairs and tables and curtains and, carpets and those sorts of things. But then also there are conveyor belts and automated like furnaces and crafting machines that you can make, and like magic powered robots that seem to like commit suicide more than they do the job they're supposed to. But that could be that I'm doing something wrong. The game doesn't teach you things very well. It's got classic tutorial dump at the beginning of the game, and then nothing for the more advanced tech. So I've had to go to like the wiki to look stuff up a number of times, which that happens a lot, for better or for worse, with survival crafting games. But there's a lot here. There's a lot to enjoy. There are things that feel like they just liked it, so they cribbed it from another game series. So, I mean, this game basically has Pokemon. You get, what are they called? Just capture spheres, I think is what they're called. But I mean, they're Pokeballs. And you fight the monsters.
Well, let's just put it this way. On their store page, they have the Akira bike slide.
Yes, that's in there too. There's hoverboards that you can get. And these are only the things that I found. But yeah, they've got Pokeballs, and you can capture any creature. You just have to get its health down into the yellow zone, and then throw Pokeballs at it until you capture it. And then you can use your captured creatures for things. So like a bear, or if you capture like a goblin or something, is really useful for combat. And, bear, go! And then they'll fight for you. Much more violent than Pokemon, because that bear will maul somebody's face and eat it.
But just
or
the
you
face.
can, yes, just the face. Or you can use them for you can like throw the Pokeball into like a farming building you can create, and then they'll just like live there. And if they, if it's a cow, it'll make milk for you, or if it's a chicken, it'll lay you eggs, that kind of thing. Or you can use them as slave labor until they die. In the early game, I think that there's more ways to get batteries and electricity in the later game, but in the early game, if you need batteries or electricity for something, there's only what it calls the kinetic generator, which is just a big hamster wheel. And you can run in the hamster wheel until your stamina runs out, or you can take one of your captured not Pokemon and throw it in there, and it will literally run generating power until it dies.
Neat.
Yeah, very neat.
That reminds me of Black and White when I left my worshippers on to pray 24/7.
And then they starved to death. Yeah. But so we'll see. I haven't gotten too much into farming yet, other than setting up some very basic crops that you need to farm to make like biofuels to make certain things. I've just kind of left farming alone. I built a small base on the starter like tutorial island because it's very safe there and you've got lots of space to kind of spread out and try things. And as I'm pushing inward, and I'm going to clear out another island and use it as a base to practice more of the farming and the automation stuff. The other thing that the game has that I haven't mentioned yet is that there's dungeons. This is something that also it cribs from Valheim. There are boss dungeons and also just like regular dungeons you can run to get certain specific resources and farm XP in order to level up and get rewards. Money's in the game. I don't know what the money's for. I haven't used any money yet. I've got a shitload of it. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, you can run dungeons and fight bosses, and there's like one somewhat unique boss. I'm not sure yet. I haven't done enough dungeons to know if how often the bosses get recycled. I've done 3, and so they've all been unique so far, but there's a lot of islands to go to. So I've only done 3 so far, but they do seem to have some pretty different mechanics, and the first few are like designed to teach you combat, because the low level monsters are pushovers, and you pretty quickly level up past them being able to really do anything to you. So the first few bosses are there to teach the different combat. There's one that's weak to like ranged combat, and you can only hit its like weak point with a ranged weapon. There's one that's weak to melee combat. He's like really fast, but use terrain to dodge out of the way, and he'll crash into it. And then you can get some hits in. And then there's one that was resistant to physical damage, so you needed to use magic to really kill it. I mean, you could whittle it down with physical damage, I guess, if you didn't have any magic powers, but it was weak to magic. So and then there's race courses that you can go, and you can take like your hoverboards and stuff to go race, also for rewards. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm playing it on Game Pass. I probably would buy it on Steam or something. Probably what I'll do, since I'm playing it on Game Pass, is if or maybe when it goes to leave Game Pass, I will buy it to keep playing if I'm still like into it at the time. I think it's a good game. It's got a lot of promise as far as these survival crafting games go. I think the age of like everyone makes a shitty survival crafting game has passed for now. And the ones that continue to be in development are solid games with a lot of effort and attention put into them. I mean, Valheim, a couple years ago, I think it was a couple years ago, maybe it was just 1 year ago, was a very, very good survival crafting game. And then this one comes out around the same time, very similar ideas of like, these are the ways to handle these mechanics properly, to not make them too tedious, but to make them matter. So you have to pay attention to them, to give you enough progression so that you feel like that you can be making and learning and doing new things, to give the people who need it that push for like a story framework, but not making like a linear, sort of story game that you feel like you're interfering with by just taking time to relax and build stuff. It's very cool. I'm looking forward to getting into the house building system to build like a nice house and figuring out the farming. And like I said, unless something really opens up in the automation tech tree like stuff that makes it worthwhile, I probably won't be doing too much of that, but I've still got a long ways to go because it does get to like sci-fi, modern stuff and then sci-fi stuff a little bit later on in the tech tree. So I got a long ways to go. It's a good game. I like it. I think it's worth it. If you have Game Pass and you like these types of games, full hearty 2 thumbs up. If you don't have Game Pass and you're not sure about buying it, I think if you're someone who does very much like these games, it's worth the $25 or whatever it costs on Steam. If you're someone who's kind of into them, but you're not sure, it'll go on sale at some point. Pick it up for 10, 15, like solid 2 thumbs up. Good game. I like it. I also like that tea I just took a sip of.
Well, I just finished off my coffee, so.
Right. So, yeah, that's it for games we played. You had one, I had one.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to move on to do the news?
Yeah, so the Age of Piracy is back.
The Age of Piracy is back.
So,
Russia has reportedly legalized piracy in the face of economic sanctions.
yeah, so this is basically Russia nationalizing any copyrights that for companies that are bailing ship. I mean, this isn't necessarily limited to the gaming space, but yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
But there's talks of Russia taking over all the McDonald's and making essentially McPutin.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I would eat a McPutin. I would try that.
You're loving it, or else. But this is trying to find where it is on here. This is a suggested solution, so not law of the land yet. Essentially suspending the copyright for companies or international companies that have revoked or refused software licenses to Russian users. So, yeah, right?
Yeah. So using unlicensed software of any kind, as far as I'm aware, has been illegal in Russia for a long time. Like, I think that applies to like certain shareware stuff as well. Like, it's not even just like, general software piracy, because technically that's illegal in the United States too. Just for the most part, nobody gives a shit. But they're talking about revoking that to basically, if it's not nailed down, steal it, and we're okay with that,
Mm-hmm. Turning a blind eye to it. To just the copyright in general, right?
Yep. It says similarly in item 6.7.1, the ministry has reportedly proposed that Russia remove any liability for IP offenses when it comes to, quote, rights to an invention, utility model, industrial design in relation to computer programs, databases, topologies of integrated circuits, end quote.
Yeah, this really makes me wonder just how quickly companies would want to pick back up in Russia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I have seen projections as far out as like 20 years for Russia's economy to recover from what's happening like right now. The more conservative estimates have been around 5 years to see significant economic recovery at the moment. Like if Russia just stopped and went home, 5 years are like the conservative estimates for how long it would take to rebuild. But, who knows? Like, I think, major corporations, for all of the shit that they rightly get, have to have stable world governments and economies for them to be profitable. And Russia completely destabilizing its own economy and Ukraine's economy and other, sort of quote unquote localized economies in Europe with like really large effects and then sort of ripple effects through the global economy, they're not going to want to go back to that right away. I don't think there will certainly be companies who will want to go in to take advantage of the situation. I'm not saying that won't happen, but thinking of like big software companies and things like that, like I don't know what they have to profiteer off of in rebuilding a Russian economy. Certainly I leave the possibility that could happen, but I just don't see software companies going back to Russia if they've left. So I mean, on the one hand, this kind of makes sense as like a government, sort of foreign policy. Like, fuck it, steal what's not nailed down. While we still have the chance. Sort of a scorched earth
Yeah.
policy. They're expecting people to, and companies to not come back. So we're gonna take everything we can while we can. And kind of like how China oftentimes ignores international lawsuits brought against their companies. The Chinese government will protect Chinese companies that, infringe copyrights on a regular basis. I can imagine Russia doing the same thing in the future.
Not the one I was looking for, but
What is, oh, that's funny. It's a bear. So,
I saw a better version of it, but I couldn't find it.
yeah.
Uh,
So for the
uh,
listener, this is like a bare foot, like a bear, because
yeah, the
bears
Russian
in
bear.
Russia. Yeah. A Russian barefoot stepping on a small stack of Legos that are the colors of the Ukrainian flag.
I thought it
Very,
was brilliant the first time I saw it, and I wish I saved that one because it was this beautiful version of it. Yeah, the Russian bear. Yeah, about to step on it,
yeah.
but yeah, that works as well.
That's very, very cute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they expected this unified response. I mean, having some sort of sanctions and some sort of response, I think that was always going to be in on the table. But having this unified response from just not just governments but also companies as well. Just once one pulled out, the other ones of that industry mostly followed along, and just the dominoes fell.
Yeah.
Now the question is, will they stay out, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's really going to depend on just how the ruble rebounds, right? Because right now it's down there with the peso.
It's
I
worse
think.
than the peso. It's way worse than the peso.
I was making a joke on that one.
Fair enough. But
Let's
now I'm
see.
looking. Let's see. $1
Let's just put it
to
this way. You might want to turn that around because uh, it's 110 to the dollar right now.
110 rubles to $1.
Yeah,
So a ruble is still worth less than 1 US cent.
yeah.
And what about the peso? Let's do Mexican peso.
I mean, it has rebounded, but it's point 0072 on the 7th, which was the low point. It's up to 0091.
Yeah. So it looks like a peso is worth about 5 cents. 5 US cents.
To give it an idea, at one point a ruble was point 0.014 dollars. So a penny and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just truth, right?
Yeah. Now, to be clear, how much a country's currency is worth is not necessarily a good indicator of its economic status.
Yeah, but it gives a good indication for us just how things have fallen, right?
Yeah. Because countries inflate and deflate their currency, the value of their currency on purpose. I won't say on a regular basis, but from time to time in order to change sort of their relative buying power compared to another country, or for it, like recently, well, air quotes recently in terms of the world stage within like the last 10 years, Japan purposefully devalued its currency to change something about its trade ratio. I don't quite fully understand international trade. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but I remember there was a big stink about Japan purposefully devaluing its currency for trade reasons that had a lot of people pissed off in the international community. So, but anyways, yes, Russia, they did a big oof. They're in trouble.
Yeah, and now they're possibly doing a bigger, more long-term oof.
Yeah.
Hey, but I did hear Papa John's is sticking around in Russia. No, I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
I believe you.
Oh,
Better
it's a shame because
ingredients, comrade.
it's a shame because they're one of the better, at least the local ones here are the better chain pizzerias. But right,
Yeah. Papa John's pizza, as far as like, chain style restaurants goes, is I think the best, but good old Papa John is a shitty, problematic figure.
yeah. Well, let's put it
He's
this
not a
way:
good man.
a local Pizza Hut is borderline inedible. Uh, it's better to heat up a frozen pizza.
Yeah. Our local Pizza Hut's pretty trash too. They've gone downhill a lot the last few years, which
Mhm.
Pizza Hut's been in financial trouble for a while now, so I kind of see why, but
Yeah.
we've got a really nice pizza place that opened up though a couple of years ago called First Avenue Pizza, and that is some good shit.
Yeah, well, my options is learn how to make better pizza and or just suffer from Pizza Hut. There's
Yeah.
no real local places anymore.
Yeah, we've got
Unless you go all the way into Charleston, which yeah, it's not a long distance, but at the same time, it's not worth it.
right.
Especially with gas, how it is.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Don't get me started on gas prices.
I'm sure that there's plenty of Biden stickers on the pumps here.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was another conversation that happened at work today. I completely forgot about that until you said it. And the drug rep guy came in and he was like, "Yeah, I've been seeing lots of those little Biden stickers, the I did this stickers." And Sarah was like, hey, yep. And I was like, yeah, because Biden started an international conflict with one of the world's largest oil and natural gas exporters. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, Biden did that on purpose,
Mhm.
just so that you would have to pay $1.50 more per gallon at the pump.
Sarah probably has an entire roll of those stickers, right?
Probably. And she probably believes that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, um, yeah. What's you want to go talk about something else that's kind of related to this?
Yeah, so speaking of Russia fucking things up,
Yep.
no advance wars for the time being. Due
Yeah.
to, they don't, Nintendo didn't come out and say uh, it's because of the Ukraine conflict, but they said world events.
Yeah.
Eh,
And the only reason you would that I can think of that you would delay the release of a game that is a war game where one of the factions is very clearly a
no,
Russian
no, you
stand-in,
mean it's totally not Russia.
right?
They're blue after all.
Yeah, they are blue. But yeah, there's the quote unquote American stand-in. I don't know why I said quote unquote. The Red Army is America, the American army. Blue is Russia. Green is Germany. Like sort of World War II Nazi Germany-esque. And then yellow is Asian, like Japanese.
That's racist.
That is racist. And then black are the actual bad guys, which also that's racist.
That's super racist.
Yeah. And in the Tech Raptor article, like you scroll down, like one of the Advance Wars factions, Blue Moon, is explicitly inspired by Russia and the Soviet Union. Like, yes. I think one of the generals, I think, is Olaf. Like, I think that's his name is Olaf. It's been a long time since I've played, so I could be misremembering that. But I mean, this makes sense. It sucks. I really like Advance Wars, and I've been thinking about buying um, a Switch OLED on like eBay or something. And this would be great, a great like, oh, I'll buy a new Switch OLED and I'll buy, Advance Wars 1 and 2, the re-release to go with it. And, they got delayed, so it kind of sucks. But that just means that I won't spend like $400 that I don't need to spend.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe the Switch OLED would be more in stock whenever, right?
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Which there's uh, a YouTube channel was doing a burn-in test on the Switch OLED, and at 3,200 hours, it started to see some real burn-in.
3,200 hours with
A static image, which sounds like a lot, but at the same time, you also have to realize HUD elements, right?
yeah, but I'm assuming that's you leave it on and you don't
Mhm.
turn it off for 3,200 hours.
Which is 133 days.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
mean,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
leave
I
my
mean,
Switch
I
on
mean
for that
that's,
long.
that's long enough that I don't think it's going to be that big an issue. But also, I'm sitting there and thinking about people that just play one game because it's not just turning it off; it has to be a different image to kind of refresh things.
Yeah.
And HUD elements are a major problem with OLEDs, OLEDs, because right.
Yeah. So
The comment section on that, this was a few weeks ago. It popped up, I believe. Reddit, some of the comments were talking about how people were seeing faint burn in at less than that from HUD elements. But anecdotal evidence, right?
yeah.
And it just could be people saying it as well because people going on the internet and lie, right?
Yeah. People go on the internet and make shit up. What? No. So yep. I don't know if there's anything else to add to that. It just was like a quick addendum to Russia doing Russian things.
Yeah. This is why we can't have nice things, right?
Indeed.
Well, assuming that the remaster is nice, of course, because it could not be, right?
Yeah, I don't see how you could fuck that up, but you know
Mhm.
what? You could. You absolutely could. Because at least Advance Wars 1 and 2 are from like 20 years ago, give or
Mhm.
take.
Well, let's put it this way. I didn't go back and double check it, but there were people that claiming that the first Advance Wars was delayed because 9/11.
Advance Wars 1 release date.
September 9th. So it's right in there. So it
Yeah,
could
so
be a regional thing too,
yeah.
or had issues with it.
See, this says original Advance Wars released September 10th, 2001 in the United States. Wikipedia claims uncited that it was delayed in Europe and Japan due to 9/11.
So, right.
Yeah, but
Maybe Advance Wars is just cursed.
maybe. I mean, there's, even though statistically speaking, the world is the most peaceful it's ever been, or at least, perhaps not including the Ukraine, but maybe even including that, there's always conflict somewhere.
Mhm.
So if you're going to make something about war, you have to be I don't think it's unreasonable to need to, consider that. But anyways. So yeah. Next new I'm got away from our topics list. Let me get back over here. Our next news topic, Microsoft testing ads in Windows 11 File Explorer. So this is
Yeah, this
as
is
you said,
kind
gaming
of
adjacent.
yeah, and there's some reports from Microsoft saying this was supposed to be an internal test. Even so, internal test, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Windows 11. I haven't used it, so my only experience is watching, tech tubers discuss it. But I don't like Windows 11 in general. I don't like the layout, the way that it looks. I know that you can, at least with Windows 10 and every other version of Windows, you can get, Windows Shell or whatever to make it look and behave a little bit
I mean,
differently while the core is still
I
the
use
same.
Windows Shell on Windows 10 to make it sort of a hybrid between 7 and 8.
Yeah, I really like Windows 10. 7 was great. 8, I didn't like the user interface of it all. Any of the 8s, any of the revisions. And then I liked 10. I really liked 10. But, I mean, 10 really is kind of the way that I've always thought about it is sort of like the next like the next step past Windows 7. It's like, okay, you got to make some changes because you feel like you have to, like, change the look. So the way that they change the look from 10 feels like a natural progression from 7. But I don't like, and this very well could just be purely psychological. It feels too much like a Mac to me. I'm not an Apple guy. I never have been an Apple guy. And Windows 11 feels more like, Mac OS to me, and I don't like that. And if that's, purely just me and my biases, I would have to work that out. But shit like this, like putting ads in the start menu is bad enough. You can disable them. You can get things that, hide or remove them. But putting ads in fucking File Explorer, fuck off, Microsoft, with that shit. I'm already going to have to pay for your OS. I'm already paying you a bunch of money for other stuff. Like, stay the hell away from my files. Leave them alone. If anything's going to push me to really, really use Linux, it's going to be this. Shit like this.
Yeah, now I do want to highlight that this is not a banner ad. This is like one of the tooltip ads. But it's still, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to go full disclosure. This isn't, going on any website ever nowadays without an ad block and, having the entire File Explorer blow up. It's just, it feels like it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah, I agree. Even entertaining it sets a bad precedent.
Yeah. And while Microsoft is backing away from this potentially after the backlash, gotta hold them to it because, right?
Yeah,
I can't even run Windows 11 because, I have an AMD processor, so I would have to do a BIOS upgrade, which is always a bit scary, right?
Yeah. Yep, there's always a chance that you could break your motherboard.
Yeah, don't need to do that again. Right?
Yeah. Why not? Why don't you want to break your computer?
Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
Right? I don't know when I'm going to upgrade my computer. Like, speaking of computer stuff, like, did you see I didn't realize this, but the city in China, whatever city was it Shenzhen, that they locked the city down because they had a COVID flare up, is one of like the biggest, still currently like biggest chip manufacturing locations in the world.
Yeah, so
It's like,
good luck getting a video card at manufacturer's price, right?
Yep, like this year I was thinking about like doing a PC, my PC upgrade, which is I'm gonna have to build a new PC where I'm at, like, just because all of my hardware is too old. Like, I have pushed my PC as far as I can with my motherboard and CPU combo that I'm locked into. So I'm just gonna have to start over.
My next upgrade would be video card, but all right.
Yeah. But I mean, even building a new PC and then just dropping my current video card into it and then waiting to upgrade to another one or, a newer one, like, prices for everything are about to go way the hell back up again. RAM, CPUs, like, it's all going to skyrocket. And I'd like to build a PC that I'll get another 10 years out of, because at this point, this PC is going to have lasted me for 10 years. In its current iteration, it started in 2014. So I'm at 8 years on this machine, with the exception of graphics card and storage upgrades. Who's my good PC? Who's a good boy? You just hang in there, buddy. You just hang in there.
Yeah, the original plan was to eventually upgrade this one in a year or two for a new video card. But, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, between the world going to shit again. Hey, who was expecting a normal summer this year? Fuck you.
Right. So, let's see. Is that all we have to say about Microsoft?
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, Microsoft. All right. Moving on to our next bit of news then, which is a community corner. Artesian Builds CEO offers apology and shuts down. So I didn't read this. You were going
Oh,
to tell it to me live.
okay. So, this all started on Twitch, like all good stories does. The CEO of Artesian Builds, who people have been mockingly calling Star Lord because of the jacket he was wearing at the time, was
Right. Okay.
hosting a giveaway slash live build of a system to give away. All right,
Okay.
and this was for their ambassadors, basically the people that were shilling their computers. You know, well, he does the draw and then changes the rules because the person that he drew didn't have enough followers and didn't stream enough for his taste. Then drew another name, another small streamer that they were doing that was part of their program. Drew again, got one that they arbitrarily said was using the wrong banner. Was using the old version of their banner, not the new one on their streaming thing. They pulled 8 names before they got one that was marginal acceptable to the CEO. Mind you, before they did the stream, they just said it was open to the ambassadors. They changed the rules mid sweepstakes. That is a big, big, big fucking no-no.
Yeah.
Especially
Damn.
for something expensive like a computer, right?
Yeah.
So, and mind you, this was a sponsored giveaway from Intel. Intel got involved into this mess and started pulling their sponsorship of Artesian Builds, which started a domino effect. They started losing sponsorships because, right? In ad deals.
Yeah. Of course they would.
The CEO issued apology MPEG 4 with a very marginal, to use his term against him, performance on just how sorry he was. And was basically talking about the possibility of an employee buyout because, shit was going down. Then the state of California steps in and starts investigating for tax evasion because of the way they had their company set up, supposedly. This one was kind of just a very quick quip on Gamers Nexus video, which is linked on one of the on the article, and essentially freezes the entire company. So, yeah, they're gone.
Damn. I mean, if you wanted to do a PC giveaway to a specific person, then just give him a fucking PC.
No, it wasn't even that. It was they have this whole multi-level marketing level of bullshit.
Oh.
So the Gamers Nexus or either Gamers Nexus or I think Jim Sterling commented on this. Essentially, the way they did it was that there's the ambassador program, and then for every month that you're above a certain threshold, you basically get bumped up a level. So you have to show for them for months to even be considered for any of their big prizes in these giveaways that they do every so often. I mean, they
Right.
disqualified one person because they had no click-throughs on their ad, on the banner, right?
Right. That's terrible. I had never, and until this, I had never heard of Artesian Builds, though. So I guess they weren't having people shill enough.
Right? I mean, their last tweet on their corporate March 8th. We're sad to announce that effective now, we are freezing/suspending all activities Following is analysis by outside counsel for reorg to ensure fair treatment of clients, creditors, employees. We expect more info by month's end. So far, nothing. We are open to assistance / investment. Yeah, who would touch them at this point, right?
Yeah. Somebody will. Somebody will. Actually, that's not true. They might not, but I could imagine that someone would.
And it's kind of funny. Okay, so this was the 4th monthly giveaway that they've been doing. Uh, that kind of, right?
Yeah.
And may I point out, Intel all over the advertising on it, right?
Yeah. Man.
Oh, let's see if the VOD is still up for this, because I want you to see how this guy was dressed. Let's put it this way: it's a 6-hour-long VOD, right?
And that includes the entire stream giveaway, or
Yeah,
just
that's
okay.
That's the entire thing. It's just right. That's the entire build up to the giveaway. That looks like they actually cut out that section. if that's this one, or no. Oh, here it is. Once again, another 13 fucking hours. Does this guy just think he's a Twitch streamer?
Not cutting off or out any of the downtime.
Mm-hmm.
No editing.
Well, this is all live on Twitch. It's just right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad for the employees, of course. One, having to deal with this tool, and 2, having the entire company get torpedoed because of them, right?
Yeah. Feel bad for anytime workers are hurt because their bosses are dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Always feel bad for them. That sucks. It's not their fault. Even if you're working at a shitty company and it's shitty, like maybe that's the only place you can get a job, or maybe you're hoping to use it just as padding for your resume or something. Like, I can understand why people would work at places that are shitty. We don't have a system that's set up to give people, most people, your sort of average quote unquote person, like the freedom of choice to avoid bad companies, and just sucks. So I can understand those people working there. They don't deserve that.
All right. Here's the lady that won the PC, or I should say the first one that got drawn, because remember they went through like 8 names. I'm going to link this to you.
Okay.
She has a clip, and mind you, she's gotten a big boost out of this, and actually had somebody else build her a PC.
That's nice of them.
But see what I mean by people are calling this guy Star-Lord?
Oh, yeah. I wonder if that actually is like a jacket you can buy from the Disney store or whatever, it's like Frozen. I didn't lose you, did I?
No.
Okay, it just must be a weird thing with the video.
I mean,
he sounds like a dick. 2K followers is under my threshold. Dick.
And also, any redeeming qualities?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he doesn't have redeeming qualities.
Nope.
And also, she does have a point. Not everybody has money for a PC. It's expensive. How many click-throughs are you expecting, especially this market, right?
Yeah.
PC prices are up. Way, way, way up. Even pre-builds are tough to really get anything decent out of. Hell, I saw one on Amazon recently that would struggle on practically anything because they were running a very old video card.
Yeah.
And we're trying to sell it as a gaming PC. Feel sorry for the other guy there,
Yep, I do too. All right. Fuck those guys. In particular. Fuck those guys in particular. So, Rage, where can people send us stuff if they want to send us stuff?
Well, you can do so over at VGLpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, that is still active. You could drop it to us on the Twitter, VGL Podcast, or you can drop by the Discord, which you can find a link to that over there at VGLpodcast.podbean.com.
Sweet. So we have time, unless you or I, which I haven't crashed, so unless you have crashed or changed your mind, we've got time to do Discovery Queue.
Hit the music.
Sweet.
As usual, I have my Discovery Queue up and loaded. And in honor of Artesian Builds, have a nice death. A 2D action roguelite. Or roguelike. Well, roguelite. Where you play as an overworked death, whose employees have run rampant and completely throwing off the balance of souls. And his vacation plans. Early access game, because of course, right, from Gearbox, or published by Gearbox, I should say. It's very cutesy. It has sort of a Hollow Knight feel to it. One with the, kind of the art style on it.
Yeah.
It does have some sort of overarching progress. In between runs, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. But yeah, I mean, have a nice death.
Thanks. Don't mind if I do. I got Core Keeper, which I read about earlier this week. Google had recommended it to me on like their news app or whatever, some news about Core Keeper getting an update or something, or its release date. But yeah, Core Keeper. Explore an endless cavern of creatures, relics, and resources in a mining sandbox adventure for 1 to 8 players. Mine, build, fight, craft, and farm to unravel the mystery of the ancient core. I have read that this is like a really good mix of Stardew Valley and Terraria, which makes me very interested in it. So it released March the 8th, so last week. Currently it is $13 on Steam. I am tempted to buy that. Very tempted. I'm gonna hold off and actually do a little bit of sort of proper research into it, but it's tempting.
So I have a combination travel game city builder, Airborne Kingdom. Not a ton of information actually on the store page. I mean, construct a sky city and go on essentially an adventure. It does seem like people were saying that there's not a ton of content though, outside of just replaying the game over and over again, which is a little disappointing. The game seems to be more focused on the experience more than a difficulty curve, which. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how city builders are these days. They're more of a theme park than a management. So, it'll be interesting to see, if that's true. If is just kind of content light. I mean, it kind of has to be if it's floating, right?
Yeah. Touche.
Or if somebody takes this concept and fleshes out a bit more. So yeah.
So I got Soul Ash or Soul Lash. I'm not sure the proper way to pronounce it. But it says, eat the villagers, murder bunnies, milk cows, or exterminate gods. Soul Ash is a traditional turn-based roguelike where your goal is to consume the souls of the living, conquer the vast fantasy world, and decide its fate. Looks pretty good. I like it. I think I've been drifting more and more into liking roguelites and roguelikes over the last year or so. I don't know why. Changes in, I guess, the stuff I like as I get older, but this looks really intriguing to me. $15. It's got a demo. This feels like a game that will pop up on Game Pass in 6 months, and that's probably where you should play it to try it out, because roguelites are, a dime a dozen still. But I like it. It presents itself well.
So I have... hang on, I need to link this. You Will Snail. a precision 2D platformer where you are a snail trying to outwit an AI that's trying to kill you.
Nice.
Right?
I like that. Oh.
Just watch the trailer, right? Now, I'm not sure if this is, actually procedurally generated in some sort of scripting trying to kill you, or if it's just, the storyline of it, because, all right?
Yeah.
Well, it does say dodge AI spawn traps, so, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, it has this kind of neon techno feel to it, but you're a snail. A platforming snail. How many of the following 10 points do you like? Platforming, evil AI antagonist, silly voice acting, reflex-based action, actual challenges, a short but action-packed game, fourth wall breaking, variety gameplay, secret hunting, non-linear storytelling, simulations, AI, and mysteries of the universe. Right?
Yeah. So I got Elix 2. Didn't know there was an Elix 1. But Elix 2, it is called a sequel to a vintage open world RPG, which is, I think they're just trying to say it's a single player open world RPG that isn't complicated by quote unquote modern bullshit. That's what I am gathering from the description of this game. I mean, it's a science fantasy post-apocalyptic.
Well, looks like
Open world
Elix 1
RPG.
released way back in the past year, 2017.
I mean, Rage, that's 5 years ago. That's actually a decent amount of time. So, sure. I mean, I love science fiction, science fantasy type stuff. I love a good single player open world RPG. I have no idea if this is good or not. Developed by Piranha Bytes, published by THQ Nordic. Looking at this, I say get the first one if you want to try it. It's $20, and the new one is $50. So if you're really interested, probably try the first one. I mean, it looks fine though. So I don't know.
So, you got anything else?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, it was like I don't think I need an open world RPG in my life right now, so I'm not as intrigued by this as I might be otherwise.
Well, you don't want to do Elden Ring, where everybody's fucking talking about it this week.
No, I'm good. Good on that, sir.
So I got Pinball FX3 Indiana Jones: The Pinball Adventure. DLC for Pinball FX3, which seems to still be going strong. My only down point on this one is that it's a $15 for a single table. Pinball FX3 has done really, really well at recapturing some of the feel of old style tables while doing things that old tables can't do. But it's a bit tough to really say go in for this one when it's $15 for a single table, especially when they have packages of several tables that's less than that. I mean, I'm just looking there. They have 6 volumes of multi-tables. So if you're into, Indiana Jones, maybe. And if you are into Indiana Jones, I'm sorry about that 4th movie. Hopefully the 5th one doesn't disappoint you that much. Don't count on it, though. But I would say keep an eye on it, because Pinball FX does go on deep sale for their DLC. Pretty much every Steam sale. And matter of fact, right now, 2 of them are 66% off, bringing the Jurassic World one down to $4. Is that right?
Yep. Pinball FX, good game. Good game.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the Iron Oath. This feels familiar. I think maybe a few weeks ago you got it. Although maybe I've seen it somewhere and I just can't place where. But anyways, this is a turn-based tactical RPG with a medieval mercenary company that you were running. There's magic, mystical, magical creatures. You gotta maintain your company, keep everybody alive, manage your finances. It's right up my alley. Just if only there were big stompy robots in it. Although, granted, a couple of those exist now that are really good, so I want to pigeonhole this into that too. But I mean, I love this sort of thing. Turn-based tactical RPGs, managing, a force of some kind. Like, I'm in. The art style is very pixel art, sort of feels like how I remember games from the 90s being, like that's what it feels like to me. And I'm in on that.
So I got Young Souls, a
Okay.
2D action RPG. Not Diablo-esque. Think Fatal Full Metal Furies.
Okay.
Only kind of more hack and slash. It has this odd 2D, 3D art style. Not quite how Octopath Traveler did. But, where it feels like sprites in a 3D world. With some mini games to build up characters' stats and some interesting storytelling, it sounds like. With parallel worlds and it's kind of a fantasy setting. On one of the worlds, at least. Sort of Neo-Kuni almost, where a mundane world and a fantastical world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I got a game called Farthest Frontier. This is a city builder. It says protecting your people and forge a town from untamed wilderness at the edge of the known world. Harvest farm materials, hunt, fish, and farm to survive. Craft items to trade, etc., etc. So, looks good. Good graphics. Good. Got a demo. No price tag yet, but seems interesting.
I got
into it.
Heroes Hour, a procedural generated RPG with real-time combat.
Mm-hmm.
Develop cities and armies, level up your heroes, and gain new and powerful spells and skills, and explore the wonders and dangers of a procedurally generated map as you aim to conquer your enemies before they do the same to you. It has a very old, 90s-esque RTS feel to it on the graphics. Warcraft 2-esque. It does seem like multiplayer is kind of dead, but combat-wise, it looks like it gets really frantic.
Yeah.
It does say it's real-time, though, so I'm not sure just how they handle that. If it's check back in. I know that that Steam can handle games like this. It pops up a notification when something happens. But it could just be an accelerated time as well. It says real time, but then it goes in and says that the major combat is turn based, so it's just odd. Not sure exactly where they're going with this, but it's not too expensive. It does look like they're doing another game in this world as well, or this kind of expanded world.
Yeah.
Got anything else?
Nope. That was the end of my queue. Now, if you've got a bunch of games, I would be willing to start another queue. But I got 5.
I'm towards the end of mine.
Yeah, I got 5 out of that queue, so it was a good, solid queue.
Yeah, that one doesn't look too impressive.
Believe it or not, I didn't get any porn games this week.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I know. Something's wrong. I did towards the end of my queue. I got Will You Snail and have a nice death.
Well, kind of a fitting duo, right? I got Ghostwire Tokyo.
Nice.
Tokyo's population has vanished, and deadly supernatural forces prowl the streets. Yeah, like you do. Use an arsenal of elemental abilities to unravel the truth behind the disappearance and save Tokyo. This is from the same developer that's done Evil Within. So, a fitting developer, at least, right?
Yep.
Kind of the hidden supernatural in a mundane world. It's not out yet. It's coming out in just a week and a half. It'll be out the 25th. It does look like it has a demo / prelude, so there is that. I'm just quickly going through the rest of my queue. I got this one and possibly one more after it. So, who's ready for another town builder?
Whoa, me. Give me another town builder.
The Furthest Frontier. Protect and guide your people as you forge a town from untamed wilderness at the edge of the known world.
That's the one I had. That was the last one that I had. Yeah.
I must have not heard the name, so...
That's okay. Hey, it showed up twice. We both liked it. Yay. Or thought it was interesting enough, at least.
Yeah. And my last one is your roguelite. So, yeah. I must have just...
Ash?
Yeah, I just must have missed the name and didn't catch it.
Yes, okay. Steam has got a JRPG sale on right now. $314 to $321. I just noticed that. I'm browsing the front page.
Well, giant vampire lady, right?
Yeah. Well, no. There's another one. There's that's the big one. That's like the main banner, and then underneath it is a sale for just JRPGs in general.
Oh, don't tempt me. I just bought a Switch game, so right.
Yeah.
Which I'll probably be talking about next week. Been doing some hunting of monsters.
Woo!
And who knows, when the PC version of the previous game in the series goes on sale, who knows, maybe jump in on that with you.
Yeah.
Damn. Let's just put it this way. Go to the JRPG sale. There's the porn games.
Nice. Ooh, here's one called Latex Dungeon. I'm not gonna put that one in. Oh, here's another one. This is called Rev. Whatever. The breasts are exposed for your pleasure. That's all that matters. But yeah, so that's your queue done and my queue done. So then, hey Rage, why don't you hit him with them socials?
Oh, I've been Caffeine Rage. You can see me tweet every so often over at GameUSCR, or if you used to be my friend over on Steam, you can do so. Caffeine Rage. And you've been?
I've been me, Jared. You can find me.
And you're sorry. No, you're not.
I'm not sorry. If you want to find the archive that's posted to YouTube, you can do so by searching for Gaming Psychologist. But mostly I'm just on Twitter at JMA4707. I've been posting or tweeting a lot about tabletop stuff. Like, because of the algorithm, I posted a couple of tabletop things, and now I'm buried in tabletop related posts. So I've been posting a lot about tabletop stuff, which is fitting because also I appear on Twitch streams. It's twitch.tv/RunicArts, playing tabletop games where I play a evil vampire man, and also am running a game about my favorite stompy robots, Battletech. That's it.
Well, you kind of abruptly ended, so I wasn't sure if you had more.
Right? Nope, you're good. But that is it, so.
Well, once again, if you wish to contact us, VGLpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, voicemails, game-related topics, tweet them to us, VGL Podcast, or drop by the Discord, which you can find over at VGLpodcast.podbean.com. And if you wish to share the love, you can find us on your podcatcher of choice. Our lovely, lovely patrons have made this madness possible. You can find out more at patreon.com/VGLpodcast. Our intro, down, and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and our Discovery Cube music is Doobly Doo, also by Kevin McLeod. And his work can be found at incomputech.com. And
as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice, bye-bye now.
See ya.
Bye-bye.